Hello viewers, and welcome to Exploring Cinema with Brian Meadows. I, of course, am Brian. To the new viewers, welcome. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. And to those of you who are returning, thank you so much for your continued support. Welcome back. Alright, now that we have the introductions out of the way, on to the review. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this get-up compared to what I normally wear, which is just some kind of t-shirt, whether it be nerdy or something having to do with my job. Well, today's review is in honor of the newest MCU movie that's coming out today on the it technically comes out tomorrow on the 5th of May, but I'm actually going to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with Mallory about, say, 9 hours from now for its midnight premiere. And I wanted to go ahead and do a review on the one that started it all, Guardians of the Galaxy. So, in this film, space adventurer and outlaw Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, uncovers an ancient artifact while being the subject of a bounty hunt, and when he learns the artifact's power, and of a dangerous enemy who will stop at nothing to retrieve it, he now must find a way to rally the quartet of ragtag rivals that are hot on his trail in order to save the universe. Chris Pratt in this film plays Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, and I didn't expect him to be so good in this film. I was used to the chubby Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation, who was pretty funny, but you couldn't take him very seriously. And even now, he is still really funny, but he has quite a lot of heart to him. He's a well-rounded character, and this shows that Chris Pratt is somebody to be taken seriously in the future. And the character of Peter Quill, he felt like a mixture of Han Solo and Marty McFly with a little tiny sprinkle of Indiana Jones in there. Zoe Saldana plays Gamora. She's an alien assassin, and she's great in this film. She brought a surprising amount of depth to the film, and she also, her family lineage is very well tied to the MCU, but for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything because, as I've said before, I try to keep my videos as spoiler-free as possible. Dave Bautista, the wrestler, plays Drax the Destroyer. He's an alien who is hunting down the man who killed his family, his wife and daughter, and he gets tangled up with the other Guardians along the way. Oh my god, he is way too funny in this film, and in an unintentional way. And by unintentional, I mean it's just the type of humor that he's given. He is my absolute favorite character in this film, and you can tell that Bautista is not a trained actor, but his character is written in such a way that he is able to flourish as Drax. Vin Diesel plays Groot. He's a tree or plant-like alien and bodyguard to one of the other Guardians, Rocket Raccoon. He doesn't say very much in this film. He can talk, but the only way he can translate words is by saying, "I am Groot," and he says it in certain ways, different inflections, and Rocket is actually able to he actually knows what he's saying, so luckily he's kind of a translator for them. And Groot is kind of the Chewbacca of this film, except he did have just a bit more humor. Bradley Cooper in this film voices Rocket Raccoon. I say voices because the character is a performance capture CGI character who is an intelligent raccoon bounty hunter, and Bradley Cooper didn't actually do any of the performance capture. He just did the voice. I know certain people, like the director's brother, Sean Gunn, actually did a lot of the performance capture for Rocket. How do I describe Rocket Raccoon? This was a character that if he was written wrong, he could have actually been the next Jar Jar. But I can't think of a different way to describe this, but one of my favorite critics on YouTube, Chris Stuckman, actually compares him, as the Heath Ledger's Joker of the MCU. Do I agree with that? Tiny bit. His voice work for this character is flawless, And Rocket may be one of the best MCU characters so far. He had a great mixture of emotion, but there was also a lot of depth to both the character and Cooper's performance. As far as the main villain, I'm not going to spoil anything for him, but I'll just go ahead and say I thought he was okay. He's kind of the standard MCU villain. I liked the performance, but I felt like he was just another underwritten villain, and I'll just leave it at that for now. The film even has an amazing minor cast with talent like Glenn Close, Michael Rooker, John C. Reilly, and Benicio del Toro. Everybody in this film is absolutely fantastic in their roles. Honestly, I think the only film that I can think of in the MCU that tops, or actually no, two films. The only films that I think actually top Guardians as far as well-rounded cast is, in order, is Avengers, Captain America Winter Soldier, and then Captain America Civil War, with Civil War being at the top as far as all-around performances. This was a film that should not have worked, especially since nobody in the general movie-going audience knew who or what the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I'll be honest, I had no idea what the hell they were. Even doing research, I was still confused because there was just so much. There's different Guardians of the Galaxies, Guardians of the Galaxy teams throughout the comics, depending on where you're looking. And I was happy when they brought on James Gunn to direct, because I knew who he was before this film. I knew that he directed the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, which, even though I know that they're not the best movies, they really are guilty pleasure films for me, and I loved what he did with them. Also, I knew his black comedy film Super, so I felt that he was so off the wall with his directing style and how he writes the script, or how he writes the scripts that he writes. So I felt maybe this film could actually work. And he even stressed the use of practical and makeup effects in the film. So hats off to him for that, because you guys know I love me some practical effects. Even for those of you who haven't seen the film, there's a prison scene, and it was almost completely practical. I mean, they did expand the prison using CGI, but it was a great meld, and actually the set that they had for the prison weighed just around 350,000 pounds. As far as the visuals, these were grade 8 visuals at the time. I'm only saying that because, in my opinion, before Doctor Strange, which I think has the best visuals of pretty much any movie out there, in my opinion, Guardians had the best visual effects of any MCU films, especially due to the use of color, before Doctor Strange came out. And it was also great that even though the director of photography, Ben Davis, preferred the use of photochemical film over digital film, he still chose to use the digital cameras, which they used the Arri Alexa XT, which is actually one of my favorite cameras, or at least it was until I started seeing more things with the 70mm and the Arri Alexa 65. And I feel that with the XT, this was the only way that it could have been shot and made to look so crisp and beautiful. And the film also utilized multiple visual effects companies, including Moving Picture Company, who worked on things like, let me think, what did they, I'm blanking on this. They worked on the design of Groot and what the planet of Xandar looked like, which, for those of you who've seen the film, you know that Xandar is fucking beautiful. And, let me think, another company like Frame Store, who worked on things like Rocket and extending the prison scene. Now, onto my favorite part of the film, the music. Just, I'm gonna go ahead and get the score out of the way. Tyler Bates composed the score for this film, and while it is a great score for this type of film, for an action film that's also a space opera, sadly, the only bad thing about it is that it is actually overshadowed by the soundtrack itself, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But one thing I will say about the character of Peter Quill, and this is actually tied to the music, is that growing up on Earth, his mother had a huge love for music, and she had even made Peter a tape of a lot of songs from the 70s, and they pop in and out of the film every once in a while, but it gives the film a sort of uniqueness on how the soundtrack serves the story. I have never seen a soundtrack utilized to that extent, and I fucking love it. And every single song in the film I knew by heart. My parents actually had me growing up listening to a lot of older music, so it gave me a humongous appreciation for the classics. Hell, hold on. I even have it on vinyl. I have the fucking soundtrack on vinyl. That's how fucking awesome this track is. As far as negatives, I do want to actually backtrack to the villain a bit. While I think that he was a little underwritten, I think the best thing that they could have done for him was actually make him, make him a good villain, is that they should have made him kind of, in a way, oblivious to everything that was going on around, just as pretty much every other character. Maybe if they had given him some more, I was about to say more, but if they had actually given him humorous dialogue and maybe gave him basically a little bit of humor, it would have made him a more well-rounded character. And I honestly wanted to see him popping in jokes every once in a while, and I honestly think that it would have made him a better villain. Would it have made him like one of the greatest villain in the MCU? Definitely not. Would it have actually made him one of them? Maybe. I don't know for certain, but that is actually my only complaint to this film. To recap, Guardians of the Galaxy is a near-perfect movie with great performances, a fantastic main ensemble cast, compelling characters, main and side. That sounded weird. Fantastic music, and an amazing... sorry, I almost skipped one. Just a fucking great story, and then now I'm at the part where I was about to talk. An amazing and beautifully made new universe. Even though technically it's not new, considering that it's the same galaxy. I almost said universe again. Considering that it's the same galaxy as the Avengers. And honestly, this is still my favorite MCU film when it comes to the humor. And honestly, who knows if it may actually change tonight? I don't know. Fingers crossed. I am honestly hoping that Guardians 2 will actually replace it. But like I said, I'll let you guys know in the next review I do. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble on and on. So, I must ask you guys, what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy? Did you love it, hate it, indifferent, haven't seen it, etc.? It doesn't matter. I want to know your thoughts. I welcome new perspectives. Be sure to check out my Patreon channel, which I will actually have the link for down in the description below. And you can donate as much as $1 per month in order to help support what I do here and the channel. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for new reviews and content. There is always more to come. Also, before I go, don't forget to be on the lookout for my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I will be filming tonight. And actually, right now, I'm gonna do some editing on this video, put it out, and then I'm going to pick up Mallory. We are going to go on a dinner date, and then we will go see it. And actually, she doesn't know that I just bought this today, so when she actually sees this, I actually want to see her freak out. I'm really excited about it. So anyway, guys, you all have a very good day, and may the Force be with you, always.